Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the weight of leadership decisions in the air? You can almost feel this call to action. Maybe it was an awkward silence after a tough call that you had, or that gut feeling that, man, something just needs to change. But no one's saying it. You kind of just feel it. Leadership is full of these moments. I've experienced hundreds of them. And today I'm bringing you 3 quick but powerful lessons straight from the trenches of recent coaching calls that I've had, client conversations, consulting meetings. These are the kind of insights that I promise you separate great leaders from good ones.
This is the Champion Forum podcast with Jeff Hancher, the forum for leaders, champions, and dreamers.
Welcome back to the 25th episode of Hanch's How-Tos. You know, when that music drops, it can only mean one thing. It's a Hanch's How-Tos episode. If you're new to the show, Hanch's How-Tos episodes, they're designed to give these quick leadership nuggets. They're a result of very recent conversations that I've had. I kind of pull them from the archives of the tablet, and I think about, hey, where are these nuggets? What's this real-time leadership that's happening out there, and what can I share with the Champion Forum podcast audience? So I'm ready to jump into these nuggets today. I think they're going to add real value to you. Probably some of these you might be encountering now, or you're certainly going to identify with them. So let's jump in to the first how-to. The first one, stop managing perceptions, start managing results. Stop managing perceptions. Start managing results. This is so big. I was coaching a senior leader, mid-sized company, who was exhausted, drained. You ever feel that way as a leader? I'm sure you have. I know I have. He wasn't overworked in the traditional sense, meaning the hours. His real exhaustion came from constantly trying to manage how he was being perceived, how people thought about him. He wanted to appear like this very strong, confident leader, but not too distant. I want to be confident. I want to be strong, but not too distant. I want to be empathetic, but I don't want to be too soft. I want to be confident, but I don't want to be arrogant. He starts battling with all these perceptions and his image and how is he being perceived, and in all this, guess what happened? His results started to suck. He was so wrapped up in the public image of leadership, and not just the people that he was leading, but also his peers left and right and senior leadership in the organization. He was putting so much effort into his brand that his results started to slip. One day after a really tough quarter, I asked him, if you stopped trying to look like a great leader and just focused on being a great leader, what would change? Think about this question. I thought it was a pretty good coaching question myself. If you stopped trying to look like a great leader and you focused on being a great leader, what would you change? His entire demeanor shifted in the moment. He realized he was burning energy on optics instead of outcomes. And why this is up close and personal to me is because I have seen this firsthand with many, many leaders. I have fallen victim to this, where I was trying to be the fan favorite, the leader of the people, trying to get the senior leadership in the organization to kind of buy into my brand. And all of a sudden I would notice that my results would start to slip. Now, I think there needs to be some balance to this. But folks, I'm telling you, I have seen this countless times in my career. And let me say, I'm all for creating that strong leadership brand, having people respect you. However, if this brand is void of results, you are on a sinking ship, my friend. Don't be the leader that becomes the leader of the people and has the popular vote and has zero respect from the team and is struggling to get results. For most of us, we are in a for-profit organization. We are there to drive results. The key here is balance. Popularity void of results, not sustainable. Absolutely not sustainable. That ship will sink. You will be asked to leave. You will be removed. Leadership isn't about crafting the perfect image. It's never going to be. Not that image isn't important, but it is about delivering real impact. When you focus on the work itself, perception oftentimes takes care of itself. I don't know about you all, but I want an image as a leader of a leader that gets things done. So here's my question. Are you spending more energy protecting your reputation than actually leading? This week, I want to challenge you. Pick one area where you've been hesitant to make a tough call, maybe a tough conversation because of how it might look. Maybe it's even challenging your own boss. I want you to think of one area that you need to make a tough call on and how that might look for you. Shift your focus from how are people going to perceive me to results and take action. How-to number 2. Your team needs clarity more than they need motivation. Somebody needed to hear that. Somebody listening needed to hear that. Your team needs clarity more than they need motivation. And look, if you've been around me any length of time, I love motivation. I love me a good piñata party. I love me a good rah-rah, rally the troops, all hands in on 3, let's go. Love it. But it can't be high motivation and low clarity. Your team needs clarity more than they need motivation. Motivation is not sticky. It's not sustainable. It's not meat. You know, it's like trying to chew gum when you're really hungry. It feels like you're eating, but you're really not. We need clarity. We need to be leaders of clarity. I was working with a sales leader recently who couldn't figure out why her team was underperforming. What is going on, Jeff? Despite my efforts, despite everything that I'm trying to do. She was rolling out incentives, hosting motivational sales meetings. Salespeople, sales leaders, you know what I'm talking about. Salespeople can throw a party. And even brought in a guest speaker. Yeah, oh yeah. Brought in a high-charging, high-energy speaker, got the team all fired up, and guess what? Sales didn't improve a bit. Didn't move the needle a bit. So we sat down and I asked, hey, if I just happened to shadow one of your salespeople for a day, would I know exactly what success looks like for them? Would I know? Would I be able to observe that? She paused. The problem wasn't motivation. It was clarity. This pause in her response, I was like, you know what? I don't even think she knows. Her team didn't need more inspiration. They needed a crystal clear roadmap of what success actually looked like. You know, I told her, she had several people on the team. If I rode in the car with each of them and asked them, what does success look like? Could they tell me? Would I get all different answers? You can throw pizza parties. You can have pony rides. You can create the most amazing environment and fail. Man, that's kind of heartbreaking, isn't it? Because I'm all about an environment. I'm all about team morale. I'm here for it. But people need to go beyond that. And listen, leader, maybe you need to hear it. People aren't always lazy. Sometimes we can chalk it up. Our results suck because my team's lazy. My results aren't where they need to be because the team's disengaged. More often than not, they just don't know exactly what winning looks like in their role. It hasn't been made clear to them. They don't know the clear and reasonable expectations. If you don't define success for them, they'll define it for themselves. And that rarely leads to great results. So, if I asked your team, describe what success looks like to me in your role, would they all have the exact same answer, or would they answer it differently? If they're answering it differently, you need to be more clear as a leader. This week, I want to challenge you. Have a one-on-one with a key member of your team. Instead of asking about their goals and their KPIs and, you know, all the accounts they're going to close this month, ask them this. What does a great day at work look like for you? If their answer isn't what you expect, you have found your gap. You now have found an opportunity to be more clear. And clear leadership is kind leadership. How-to number 3. Don't confuse kindness with avoidance. Uh-oh. This is a good one. Man, I remember this story like it was yesterday. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. A CEO I work with, this guy has a heart the size of Texas. Servant leader, good guy. He genuinely cares about his people. But there was a pattern in his leadership that he avoided tough conversations and put way too much energy into his kindness. He kept underperformers around too long. He gave vague feedback. He did all this for the sake of, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. And he rarely confronted difficult issues head on. One day, after he had another one of these long meetings trying to soften a difficult message, I told this to him. And man, I wish you could have seen the look on his face. I said, you know what? You think you're being kind, but you're actually being selfish. This guy looks at me like I have 3 heads. But then it clicked. You could almost see it clicking in him. He wasn't protecting them. He was protecting himself from the discomfort of a hard conversation. True kindness is not avoiding tough conversations, is it? It's having them with respect, with clarity, so people have an opportunity to improve. If you were to put 3 of your own leaders in your own Hall of Fame, your top 3, were they tough on you? Were they willing to have a tough conversation? I'll bet the answer is yes, because they were giving you a roadmap. They earned the right to be tough. Tough conversations, they're not unkind. Avoiding them is very unkind. If you truly care about someone, you'll give them the feedback they need to grow. Hopefully this is how we parent our own kids, for those parents out there. Here's my question to you, leader. Who in your life needs truth from you more than they need comfort? Sometimes you got to tell your buddy that there's broccoli in their teeth. You know what I'm talking about? Aren't you thankful for that friend that says, hey, I got a mint that you need, brother? Aren't you thankful for that person? They give you some tough feedback because they don't want to see you fall off a cliff. They're trying to cover your blind spot. Hey, listen, when you deliver a tough conversation, it doesn't have to be with emotion. It doesn't have to be with tears. It doesn't have to be with throwing a chair. You're just delivering information. I want you to think of one conversation that you've been putting off because you don't want to make someone uncomfortable. Schedule it this week. Remember, kind leaders tell the truth. We don't candy coat things. We just tell them how they are. We're just delivering information. We're just delivering data. What's that one conversation, leader, that you've been dreading? Can I challenge you today to push in and lean into that discomfort? We're going to be launching a book soon. Maybe you've heard about it. I'm launching my very first leadership book, Firm Feedback in a Fragile World. It's coming soon, y'all. This is a must-read book for anyone that is looking to improve in this challenging leadership segment that we're talking about. The framework in this book, it's going to guide you into the practical steps of creating a culture of healthy accountability on your team, and it will certainly increase your leadership impact. Make sure that you register for our weekly email that comes out, our show notes, or follow me on socials to be notified of when this book is releasing. But I'm going to give you an entire career of leadership nuggets and a framework that's going to help you become not just a boss that people report to, but a leader that people don't want to let down through this framework of how do I lean into a tough conversation that people value, that people appreciate. Kindness can be a leader that also holds people accountable and steers into those hard conversations. In closing, let me encourage you. Let me challenge you. Leadership is about action, not just intention. We can't hope our way to great leadership impact. This week, take one of these 3 lessons, one of these 3 how-tos, put it into practice. Are you focusing too much on perception instead of results? Are your people struggling from lack of clarity because you're giving them way too much motivation and not enough clarity? Or have you mistaken avoidance for kindness? Choose one of these and lead purposeful. And as always, I want to hear your feedback. Drop me a message. Let me know what resonated with you most. Let me know what action that you took and how it's helping you grow as a leader. Man, it would make my day. It would encourage me. Until next week, keep making a difference. Make an impact in the lives of the people that you lead and keep turning that pressure into potential.
The Champion Forum Podcast with Jeff Hancher. Lead, inspire, win.